So you need that, and you need that declaration.
Here's the bigger problem, and they just had like a thing where a paralegal was talking. I think it was CP24 or something like that. They're giving advices out there to tenants saying, "Oh, just because you got a notice doesn't mean you have to leave," and like it's being promoted. So you as a seller, you're doing the right steps. You're giving the proper notices, right on to the last day, 60 days, etc. The whole thing that you're supposed to do is given by law, right? And the tenant's like, yeah, no problem, great. I'll get the 1 month compensation, and all that. Tenants, you think the tenant is all good?
There's no 1 month compensation started. The idea is with your N11, you need to actually have the check at the time. The date doesn't start from then.
If you get them to even sign the N11,
they don't have to. It's notice.
Now N12. So
12.
the N12
Well,
is
different
the
12. 11 is termination.
N11 is termination.
Right.
Now even to that,
Mutual.
so I got the N12 from you. Everything is great. A day before closing, I call you, say, Lahav, I don't believe you served me this notice in good faith. I am gonna go to the LTB and we're gonna do a hearing, and that's 6 to 9 months out.
Right.
Or Barak, you know what? I signed the mutual release, but you know what? I couldn't find a place to live quick enough. So, or it's raining today, so I don't move out on rain. So I'm not sure when I'm going to leave right now.
Yeah.
And you call the sheriff, and you know what the sheriff's going to tell you? This is a civil
and,
matter.
and you're not even called. Yeah, you're not even the sheriff's. The sheriff's not coming out. See, and this is the problem. The problem is that the minute that they say they don't want to go, let's fast forward, okay? Because we can talk about this forever. They're not leaving. Closing date is coming, and the buyers have done their last visit. The tenant was nice enough to let them in, and all the kitchen stuff is still there. There's food on the counter because he's eating and he ain't going anywhere. Not a single box is packed. He still has a pile of laundry, which he's planning on doing tomorrow because he's not leaving tomorrow. All right, and now you realize, this like we've got a problem. Yeah. All right, so what can we do? The answer is really nothing at this point. What can we do?
Well, we sit down and we go through options because that's all we can do in life.
Okay, options.
Options, we agree to extend. So both sides agree to extend until this gets resolved. That's number
Lots
one.
of times it does happen.
Which does happen, yes. Option number 2 is buyer wants the property so bad that they're going to assume the tenant.
Okay, rare.
But it has happened.
Sure.
And option 3, I can't give you what I'm supposed to give you. Let's end this deal. Forget it, and we all move on.
But the end this deal isn't that simple because the buyer has now sold their property. The buyer needs now to find another place. The buyer now needs to move out. And by the way, the buyer has every right, Mr. Lawyer, to ultimately sue you for all of this. You are in breach of contract.
But again, it depends. You have to take each one on a case
Sure.
by case.
I agree.
I've had people that even, believe it or not, if you have good rents, people are buying these properties wanting to assume tenants. That's
The ones that are staying, the tenants that are not leaving, are the ones that are paying $1,200 for a 4-bedroom condo that doesn't even exist in Toronto.
Yes.
All right, those are the ones that are not leaving. So those are the non-good rents that it's not happening.
And this is where a buyer that comes to us as a law firm, so they'll come to me, Corman's LLP, and they'll say, chosen lawyer, talk to me. I want to sell my house. I found this perfect spot. There is a tenant in there. They've given the proper notice. I'm going to sell my house, and I know I'm going to move into my dream condo, my dream house, and they promised me that the tenant's going to be out of there.
You're talking about this is in the beginning stages before?
If they would come to me early on and had that conversation with me, I would say, as long as there's a tenant in there, you better have a backup plan because that may not
Backup
happen.
plan. All right, guys out there, listen. And unfortunately, this ends up being the solution in many cases because on a daily basis, we have agents coming to us saying, we're selling a property. There's a tenant in it. I'm like, okay, whoa, all right, you're not doing anything yet. Let's talk about this. Is there a lease in place? Yes, there's a lease in place. Okay, well, the only way you're going to sell this is, one of the only ways you'll sell this is the buyer assuming the tenant. Let's come to option number 2 in a second. Is it not, there's no lease in place? Okay, month to month. What's the tenant like? What's the relationship? Have they started looking? Did they give notice? The answer is, unfortunately, is you try to negotiate this out. You ultimately try to buy out the tenant.
Let me add just one small point.
Yeah,
I just want to add one small point to this. As a realtor, and I tell this to all the realtors out there, be nice to the tenant.
Yeah.
Don't come in there like a hot shot. I know what I'm talking about. You don't know shit. And listen to what I gotta say. That's, I think, one of the biggest mistakes. I had a friend who was a tenant at the time, and the landlord's realtor comes in like a big shot. Oh, who are you to reject my showings? You don't know what you're up against. I'm gonna sue you. He's giving her shit. She calls me panicking. I'm like, okay, she's a friend, so I give her the actual advice. Like, tell him to go take a hike and reject all the showings from this point on because you're not comfortable. to this point, it was COVID time, so it was different. But generally speaking, you're actually not allowed to reject showings if it was 24 hours notice. Otherwise, you obstructing the sale of the property is against the LTB laws, and it's actually grounds for eviction for people who didn't know.
And 24 hours written notice. Put a sticky note on their door.
Correct.
That you can ultimately go in.
Correct.
But most people, half reasonable people, money talks at the end of the day.
Money talks, but be a human though. Remember,
of course, certainly. But once you get that human side of them, because in some situations, Barack, respectfully, we got still 6 months on the lease, 9 months.
Oh no, that's different.
Or again, you've got a month to month, but they're paying $1,200 for that same 4-bedroom condo that doesn't exist in Toronto.
Yeah.
They're not looking to every single day that they could be there that much longer. They're not going anywhere. That same condo is going to be 10 times the amount, or whatever the difference is. It's going to be massive.
But if they're even partially reasonable, they understand they're not going to last in there. Someone's going to buy it. Someone's going to move in. But you give them enough of a financial incentive, they understand you can either walk away with this dollar figure or you're going to walk away with that dollar figure. If your money's there, if all of a sudden $5,000, $7,000 on the table, people perk up a little bit.
Yeah.
Give me the most common one I hear, give me first and last and pay my moving truck and I'm good.
Those days are gone.
I had people. I had a tenant. It's like I want $15,000 to move out.
That's a little bit more realistic, and that's
Literally.
That's $15K based on a $2,200 a month
and that's
rent.
That's a person that lived out in Barrie. So $15,000 gets in quite a bit. It's not like someone in Toronto where you're going to pay high rents.
Barry's payment on the car.
I mean, Barrie's still higher than usual now. But straight out counting, $15,000, I'll move out.
Look, it's dirty. It's our world. The idea is that, like, educate yourself, understand the act, understand what you're dealing with, understand who you're dealing with. Be nice to the agents, and if you've got questions, go talk to your lawyer beforehand. All right.
And if I can throw in one last thing.
Yeah.
This is where it also shows we're mostly, not all the time, but mostly when we have these issues, we didn't spend very much time vetting out our tenants when we got them in there in the first place.
100%.
Take the time to talk to them. Go look at what their card looks like. Speak to them. Talk to their references. Talk to their old landlord. Talk to their job. Spend a little bit of due diligence. It helps.
Even the job. When I get an application, I see the company name. I Google the company, get the phone number off Google, and that's who I call and ask for HR. Because a lot of people will put something in.
You got a spider going on.
I know, sorry, I got a
spider going on. These
It's
microphones
my
are
Israeliness. Everything goes
bouncing.
with my hands, you know.
Barack with his hands, and he's clapping into the mic. He's clapping into the mic, and he's.
But
you're right. You're right.
A lot of people don't do that, and what happens? They call the tenant's friend. Oh yeah, it's great. This that. I actually one time I googled the company. Swear to God, I googled the company. It turns out to be illegal massage parlor, to put it in nice terms. I'm like, okay, that's not what that's not the business they want to put in their house, right? But on paper, it's something completely different.
Just vet out the people.
Google the companies, call who's there. If you can't get a hold of something is fishy. That's
an epidemic for our society. Even many people who have problematic employees, after the fact, they realize I hired them off one interview. I never even vetted them out. I didn't talk to their old employers. I didn't try to do any kind of research on them. Take the time to vet out the people you're going to be in. Especially
that's the whole topic I can talk about.
But they're going to live in your home. Get an idea of who's coming in there, because once they're there, you may not get them out soon.